aims to explore the dynamic landscape of innovation in these sectors. Innovation in pharma and healthcare encompasses drug discovery and development, precision medicine, digital health technologies, patient-centric approaches, regulatory frameworks, and healthcare delivery models. By harnessing the power of innovation, we have potential to revolutionize patient care, improve health outcomes, and address unmet medical needs on a global scale. The talk will explore how innovation can drive value creation, accelerate medical breakthroughs, and transform healthcare delivery. Today, we have Dr. D.D. Patil, Professor, Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, KK College of Pharmacy, to deliver the welcome address. I would like to request Dr. D.D. Patil, sir, to deliver the welcome address. Patil, sir.
So, thank you, madam. So, I hereby welcome to Dr. Bhardiya, sir, who accepted our invitation, okay, and delivering the talk on innovation opportunities in pharma and healthcare. Sir, KK College of Pharmacy is just established in 2017, and currently our 3 batches are passed out. Just in October 2023, we got NAC accreditation A grade. So, and our many of the alumni, they are studying in NIPER and various prestigious institutes within Maharashtra and Gujarat also. So it's nice that we can hear you and the students get more information regarding the innovation opportunities. So thank you. Thanks to all.
Thank you, sir. It is with great pleasure and honor to introduce our distinguished speaker for today's session, Dr. Praful Bharadia, sir. Dr. Praful Bharadia, sir, has experience of 35 years, out of which teaching experience is 28 years at KB Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, S.K. Patel College of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, B.S. Patel Pharmacy College, Indore Institute of Pharmacy, Ratnamai Pharmacy College, LM College of Pharmacy, Ahmedabad. 5 years of research experience at LM College of Pharmacy, and during this tenure, he has handled various projects granted by UGC, DST, and MHRD. Sir has 2 years industry experience at Cadila Laboratories, Ahmedabad. Sir is also approved PhD guide, and till date, he has guided 13 PhD scholars, and all are awarded with the PhD. He has guided more than 50 MPharm projects. Sir has filed 15 patents, and out of which 9 patents are granted. Sir has published 5 books, and he also has 103 national and international publications on his name. Sir has also received various awards like Indian Achievers Award for Education Excellence by Rashtriya Gaurav Award, Indira Gandhi Shiksha Shiromani Award, Asian Education Award for Innovative Professor for the Year. Then about memberships, Sir is Honorable Secretary of Indian Pharmaceutical Association, Gujarat State, 2018 onwards. Sir is president at IPA Mehsana branch during the tenure 2012 to 15. Sir is coordinator in LMCP, Nodal Center of Student Startup and Innovation Policy, Government of Gujarat during the tenure 2018 to 2023. Sir is also the member of Board of Studies, Graduate School of Pharmacy, Gujarat Technological University. He is president in Institute Innovation Council of LMCP, life members of IPA, ISTE, and APTI, core committee member of Centralized Placement Cell, Gujarat Technological University, fellow of the Indian Chemical Society, mentor for Atal Incubation Center at AIC LMCP by Niti Aayog LMCP, member of Board of Studies, LM College of Science and Technology, Pharmacy Wing, Jodhpur. Current area of research are modified excipients, current GMP implementation, parenterals, pharmaceutical process engineering, novel drug delivery systems. So I welcome today's eminent speaker, Dr. Bharadia sir, for the session. And without much ado, I request sir to continue with the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your warm words of welcome, Dr. Anjali. And I also thank Dr. Deepak Patil for his introduction, which he has offered about the college. And yes, it's a nice opportunity. And it's been a long time. Dr. Anjali was trying to connect and have a session on entrepreneurship and innovation. It's a growing area, a lot of buzzword is there. So the students also need to understand how things are moving on the healthcare front. So I'll share my screen and I'll start my presentation.
Yes, sir.
Right. So we are a rural based university right now, located in North Gujarat, just about 75 kilometers from Ahmedabad. So today's topic, which we are trying to talk about, is innovation opportunity.
Sir,
In
sorry
farm.
for disturbance. Could you please share the slideshow?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Fine. So we are usually confused with these two words, invention and innovation. So invention usually is related to some breakthrough technologies which are being discovered. Inventions take a long time, and such breakthrough inventions may be awarded Nobel Prizes and all that. So it's a very high level of inputs which go into discovery and all that, right? So that we would classify as an invention. Innovations on the other side are incremental increase in an existing technology or a service which is available, where you are trying to add value, where you are trying to increase its utility, where you are trying to add more users to it, and finding out ways and means of adapting it to our national or local needs. So that type of changes which we try to do is usually classified into innovation. Yes. So both these two terms we are using together, but innovation is much easier to do, whereas inventions are difficult because they are taking long time of discovery. So that is how we understand the two words invention and innovation. Okay. So let me just share about the innovation process which usually is used or we are trying to go through this process. So the first step in the innovation process is problem identification. Problem identification is very important because these problems which are trying to address are either local, where you are saying and where there are problems around you. They may be state level, they may be national, or they may be global. So depending on the type of problems which you are selecting, the solutions are created. Problem identification is to be done very systematically and scientifically. Why? Because unless you identify the problem properly, your solutions may not be useful also. Correct? So problem identification becomes the first step. And for that purpose, the students or people who are interested in doing some innovation, they need to be aware of what's happening around, have a keen eye and interest of going into depth of how things are working, and then find out gaps which exist. And depending on the gaps which are existing, we may find a solution. So problem identification is the first step. Second one is idea generation. So once the problem has been identified, we go on an ideation spree and we try to find out ideas and ways in which we can solve that problem. After the ideas have been curated, we evaluate those ideas whether they are workable or not. So that is the step of idea evaluation. So here these steps, idea generation and idea evaluation, usually are classified as proof of concept or POC. We call it proof of concept, where you are trying to use theoretical systems and try to find out on paper whether such a solution would be workable for an existing problem, for a new problem. So that is known as proof of concept. Proof of concept becomes important at the first stage because many times logically or scientifically your solutions may not be workable. In such cases, you have to reject those ideas because they are not workable. Okay. So that is idea generation and idea evaluation, the first step of proof of concept. After the ideas have been evaluated, you may proceed further to innovation development, where you are trying to build a solution, a raw solution in the laboratory, which is trying to address the problem. So that first type of crude innovations which you develop is known as prototype. So prototype developing also needs support where you need to have facilities where you can create that innovation or that modification of whatever you're trying to prepare. So these two become important at the first two steps where maybe students are trying to create some solutions of an existing problem. So proof of concept and prototyping. These two become important because in the labs you may be required to get some support and you may be working on the solutions which you have identified. So after the prototypes are ready, we go to first use and validation. And then we are doing the checking or we are validating the solution or the product which we prepared, whether it is working or not. So that is where we take trials. It may be a service, it may be a product, it may be a solution. So these things are tested and we are trying to check how good it is working. You may have some existing products in the market which are related, and you may compare your product which is new has some modification with an existing product which is there in the market, and you may test it and see how well it is performing. So that is the first use and validation. After you're doing that validation, then you are coming to a conclusion that my product or my innovation is better, same or poor than an existing product. If you find that it is wonderful, it is going giving better facilities, or it is better in quality, or it is better in use, you may then go for production of that product. Or if you don't want to do the production, you may transfer the technology to somebody else and get money out of it. So we call it tech transfer or commercialization. Both things are possible. If your product is novel, then you may go for patenting also. I hope everybody knows what are patents because there are a few basic requirements if you want to do a patent, that it should be novel, it should be non-obvious, it should be commercializable, right? So these parameters, if they are there in your product, then you can go for a patent and you can protect the technology which you have developed. If you are not interested in protecting your product through a patent, you can go for an open source. Let everybody use it, and it is for the community to use that new innovation which you have created and go further. So this is about the innovation process. We are starting with a problem identification, and then we are ending with a product or a facility or a service which can be transferred. Correct. Now there are two types of innovations which usually we see in the market. One is demand pull innovation. Demand pull means there's a demand for an existing product in the market. There's a demand for an existing product in the market. You are preparing a new, better product for an existing demand. That is called a demand pull innovation. Okay. So there, the difficulty is not there because the market is ready for you. Whereas the second type of innovation is technology push innovation, where There's no existing market for a product. You are developing a new product and you have to create a market for that new product. So that type of innovation is called as a technology push innovation. So all the innovations which are being carried out, you can classify into these two categories, and then you can say whether it is a demand pull innovation or it is a technology push innovation. In case of a technology push innovation, generating a new market is difficult and it takes more time. It's more challenging. Whereas in case of a demand pull innovation, market is ready, but there are again players also in the market who are existing. So there's competition. So understanding these things, you can go further, and if your product is ready, it is innovative, you can enter into the market. So that is how we study about the innovation process. So if you see the startup landscape, recently there's a lot of buzz about startups and Startup India, Make in India, Stand Up India. There are so many initiatives by the central government. Our Honorable Prime Minister has been talking about it continuously. And the common youngsters are also very fascinated because there are nice programs coming up on the TV. Like say you have recently, there's a very nice program which is coming up which shows startups pitching their ideas and funding being given. So in India, a startup has been defined as an entity that is registered in India. It has been operating less than 10 years and has an annual turnover of less than 100 crores. Such a company is known as a startup. But again, there's a difference between a normal company and a startup. And how do you differentiate between a normal company and a startup? So, a startup works towards innovation development, deployment, or commercialization of new products and services driven by technology or intellectual property. So, there is a small amount of technology or IP, intellectual property. With that, if a company is entering into the market, then you would label it as a startup, right? So, this is something about how do you define a startup. So, if you want to have a startup, like you are trying to understand, like if I want to become a startup, what could be required? First thing is you need a domain knowledge, which means if you are in pharma, then yes, you would be comfortable with doing a work on some pharmaceutical products. Whereas if you are in pharma and if you want to have a technology startup which is engineering based, it may not be easy. So domain knowledge is required. If your technology which you are working on needs, it's a multidisciplinary product where you need there's engineering also which is required to build the product. There is pharmacy required for the formulation. There is, say for example, IT required for programming. If you are preparing such a product, you can have a team which is consisting of such different domain experts, and then with the team you prepare the product and have your startup. So domain knowledge is very important because that is your depth knowledge which you are going to put into the product which you are going to prepare. So that is required when you're having a startup. That the startup, the person who is heading the startup should be having expert knowledge about the product which he is preparing. Otherwise, what happens is he may just hire people and those people will do some work. And tomorrow, if those people are not there, his company may stop. Therefore, it is important that the persons should have domain knowledge. Creativity should be there, imagination should be there so that you can think of how to solve problems. Motivation should be there because motivation is required to pull through the startup process. Startups, because since you are going to handle new problems and work on some solutions, it happens that you fail. So continuous motivation is required to again iterate, do the process again, change it, do something new, modify the product, and then come to a solution. So continuous motivation is required so that you reach your end product. Communication skills and interpersonal skills are required, because you will be dealing with so many people inside your team and with other people across in the market, in the regulatory landscape, so that your product, you are able to make people believe that your product is good and it is going to work and it is useful. So for that purpose, communication skills and interpersonal skills are essential, and the ability to learn. Ability to learn through mistakes is very important, right? So that you don't make them again. So being a learner is very important. So these are some skills needed which can make you more successful as a startup. We have been seeing that COVID was there, and after COVID has passed, we are seeing that many new healthcare startups have come in, pharma and healthcare. Many new. Why? Because COVID came up with so many challenges. And to solve those challenges, so many new startups have come in. So we came across so many problems during COVID. So addressing these problems, small ones, you have a startup or you have a solution, right? So that is how we see the rapid pace at which new startups are now coming into the market. So if you see the pharma R&D ecosystem, who's responsible? So we call them ecosystem enablers. We have government initiatives which are trying to support the startups. We'll go through some of the government initiatives uh, by the state government and the national government. We have the universities also who are giving support to startups. We have centers of excellence, which are specifically for developing technologies. We have colleges, and each college is a good one. These colleges have now institution innovation councils, they may have student innovation clubs, and these colleges also help to the students to become startups. These technology incubators, and they can get further support over there. We'll see that also. And students are obviously a very important part of your startup system, innovation ecosystem, and the faculty in the colleges and in the schools. The faculty are the key drivers of motivation to the students so that they take up innovative projects and maybe they end up into a startup. Or if they're not able to go to a startup level and go into the market, they can at least have a patent which they can get on an innovation which they have produced. Then the patent can be transferred depending on the value of the patent, it can be commercialized and it can be licensed out to somebody. So to that level, in the colleges, the faculty becomes a key role for enabling the innovation ecosystem. We have BIRAC, which is a central government institution and department, and that has classified various levels of innovation. They are known as technological readiness levels, or TRLs. So we have TRL 1, 2, and 3, that is ideation, proof of concept, and demonstration of proof of concept. So that is TRL level 1, 2, 3, which we were talking about POC in our first slide. Once the proof of concept is established, we are going to TRL level 4. TRL level 5 is early stage validation. Then we have TRL level 5 and 6. And then we have TRL level 7, which is talking of going to the late stage validation, where we may be having phase 2 clinical trials for a new product which is being prepared. We may have pre-commercialization, phase 3 clinical trials completed. We have a new product approval. The drug is getting licensed to manufacture the product and go into the market. And then we have TRL level 9, that is post-market surveillance studies, which we call as for the phase 4 clinical trials, where the surveillance is there for the safety and efficacy. So these are various TRL or technology readiness levels for pharma, which have been identified by the BIRAC. I'll just give you a small example of the Gujarat state government, because we have government initiatives. Each state government has its own initiatives. So we also had our initiatives 2022-27. We started at 2017. In the first 5 years, we had the 2017 to 2022. And after 22 is over, the second 5-year plan has now started for the student startup and innovation policy. It also is giving good facilities where, say, for example, if there's a public university, it gets 5 crores. If it is a public institute, it gets 2 crores. If it's a private university, it gets 1 crore. If it's a private institute, it gets also 1 crore. So these are various student startup under the student startup and innovation policy. So these grants are distributed to the students. So this is the amount of the support also which is given for IPR, that is intellectual property rights. For patenting, 75,000 for domestic, and maybe 1.5 lakhs for a PCT. Copyrights, 8,000. Trademarks, 12,500. International registration of marks, 50,000. Industrial designs, 9,000. So in this way, this is the support. So even if you want to file a patent, all the expenses of patenting are borne by this funding. So the government is giving a lot of support in funding. Similarly, this is from the state government. Similarly, central government, we have from AICT, we have the Kapila scheme, and that also is giving grants up to 5,000 rupees for about maybe 25 patents. So that is how a lot of support is available for patent filing from the government agencies. So the eligibility criteria for the state, what we have over here is wonderful. Any person up to the age of 35 years can get this funding and he can become a startup. Even a school student up to the class 12, if he comes up with a good idea, he can get some funding. A diploma, vocational, undergraduate, postgraduate, doctoral student, or an alumni of a college also can get funding. Any dropout from school, if a guy has dropped out and is not studying but he is under the age of 35 years, has come up with a good idea, he can also be given funding. So the scope is so wide that there's a lot of support available, and any project can be given up to 2.5 lakh rupees. That's the state government support. 2.5 up to 2.5 lakh rupees for any such good project. So nice screening process is done by experts. After the screening process, if we get good, all the good projects are given funding according to the requirements. So this 2.5 lakh rupees is additional to the IPR support for patent filing. That is also additional in this way. So this support is available for the startups or for the students to tinker and come up with some solutions to existing problems. So it's very interesting. A lot of focus is there. Similarly, every state government in across India is now pushing up this facility for its students. So in the last 5 years, we in the incubation center, say I was at LM College of Pharmacy earlier, and we had the student startup and innovation policy. So we could reach out to more than 10,000 students for awareness, tell students about how this innovation ecosystem works and how they can come out with various innovative ideas. We help other colleges develop the student startup and innovation centers in their colleges. We do hand holding. We have sanctioned more than 130 projects, out of which more than 56 patents, about 56 patents have been filed from these SSIP funded projects. So it's wonderful to see how the students are coming up. They are having innovative ideas. These ideas are funded, and after the products are being developed, we have a lot of patents which are also being filed. And in our incubation center, which was an Atal incubation center funded by Atal Niti Ayog, we have more than 50 startups over there at that center. So it's very interesting to see. I'll go through a few startups also which are there, and we'll get some idea about how these startups are working on various innovative concepts. So any startup incubation center will offer the following facilities: mentoring, where we have a pool of mentors who will do mentoring for the startups or for the students who are doing innovative projects. Mentors can be across all disciplines. Mentors would be also from finance. Mentors would be from IT companies where, say, there's a startup who wants to build a website of his company. Then he may not know programming and all that. So there's a mentor and support system available so that they can build up their website. So in this way, if the startup wants to have its own company registered, then there are legal experts available, mentors available who will guide the students so that their startup can be legally registered. So in this way, mentoring, facilitation, guidance, ideation support, patenting facility, organization of workshops and seminars, interaction with student startups so that regularly a startup comes and talks to the students so the students are exposed to such innovative practices about what the startups are working on, how they became a startup, and then some giving laboratory support for proof of concept. All these facilities are usually offered by any incubation center. So if you go to a pharma healthcare incubation center, you'll get all these facilities over there. So then we have many competitions which come up. You also might be aware because since you are having a institution innovation council in your college, you may be having so many such seminars and you may be exposed to many such competitions which are being organized by the state government and by the central government. So we have something called as SOIC, that is Student Open Innovation Challenge, which is organized every year by the state government, and then the students from various colleges participate in this challenge. Now, what good thing is done is that the state government tells its various ministries, Ministry of Industries, Ministry of Water, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Technology, all these ministries, they give their problem statements, and then those problem statements are put together in a list and they are given to the students as problem statements. So then the students can choose any of those problem statements and they can find solutions. After solutions are then provided, there's a hackathon and there's an evaluation and the best solutions are awarded. So it's a very nice process because they are working on live problems, because the problems are genuine problems which are given by the departments or various departments of the government. So this SOIC is organized every year by the state government and students get an opportunity to really work on such problems. So, so this is an old slide, but it these are there. So there's a nice way in which problem statements are there. You can go through the realization of teams are there. In this way, this is done. So the state government organizes such hackathons regularly, where problems are listed, and then the teams can register and work on those problems. There's also a nice incubation center for students which is available by the state government. It is known as iHub, where there are various schemes, because what happens is if the students are coming up with a product and they get maybe 2.5 lakh rupees initially for their proof of concept development. Now their proof of concept is ready. They want to go a bit further. They need more funding because money is a challenge for students, so they need a lot of support, financial support, so that the ideas or the project on which they're working can reach the market. So again, we have from 2.5 lakhs, if they want more than say, maybe 10 lakh rupees, 8 lakh rupees, up to 15 lakh rupees, then there are various support schemes available in the iHub, where we have VStart, Startup Grow, Startup Shrujan, Startup Sathi. So there are various, depending on the type of project, support schemes are available for the students so that they can go further and they can take their prototype to the market. So the students need to understand that these support systems are available and they should take benefit of these support systems. So here, as we know, the first step in the innovation chain is the exposure or culture building, where the ecosystem has to be built in the society, in the community, in the colleges, in the students. Then we get ideas and innovations. So idea contests, innovations can be then coming out. So there's a pre-incubation, ecosystem building, common infrastructure for helping the students, startup culture, and then creating the startups. So these two are usually in the colleges. The students are working on these two stages. After the students have passed these two stages, they may be ready with a product which is going into the market. So then we have startup centers and scale up. So these will help the product to go into the market and then support the startup. So in this way, various facilities are available at different stages. That's what we need to understand. So, say for example, we have the government of Gujarat Industries. This is giving support by this is the Industrial Commissionerate, and it gives a seed grant up to 30 lakhs. So, from 2 lakhs, 2.5 lakhs to maybe 12 lakhs, and now up to 30 lakhs. So, stage wise, as you are going ahead in your startup and new product development, you get, if it's good, you are getting support also for funding. So here also seed grant of 30 lakhs, sustenance allowance 20,000 per month. And if it's a woman co-founder, if it's a girl who's working, then 25,000 per month if it's a woman co-founder. If it's a significant impact on society, because if it's a problem statement or a product which is developing, which is related to healthcare and has impact on the society, additional 10 lakhs, so it is 30 plus 10, 40 lakh rupees, and skill development 1 lakh and accelerate program 3 lakhs. So this is the amount of support which is available to the startups so that they can go further. So then there's a department of MSME, that is micro, small and medium scale enterprises. This is from the central government. The central government also is giving a lot of support, where if you are coming out with some good products for an existing problem, then they also are ready to support. But the process remains the same. You have to pitch your idea. You have to give the value of your product. You have to show which problem you are trying to solve. What is the existing solution available and how you are different from an existing solution, and what's the cost. These are basic things which you need to work on when you are developing any product which is going to be innovative, right? So based on that, your products are evaluated, or your new idea is evaluated, and then you may be given funding. So MSME is also giving funding, right? You must be familiar that there was a Grand Onion Challenge earlier. This was from the central government, which was there. So people can take part. So every year, two, three such competitions are coming up, and whatever is related to pharma, you can take up and you can take part. This one was for technology, and that also was there. This was for the drone technology which they had come up with, and wonderful solutions came out because they wanted to use it for farming, topography, and or agriculture. Then recently there's a very important push on electric vehicles. So there was a grand challenge for electric vehicles and on that. So this is also there. So there are various such uh, events coming up, and students should be ready to take part in such events and work on problems, because when you work on a problem statement, you learn so many things, and that it really makes your vision very wide. When you come across so many things, you may interact, you interact with so many experts. There's a lot of resourcefulness which comes into you. So though you may not become a startup, but the learnings which you get when you go through the process of becoming a startup is wonderful. That helps you even if you're going for a job. You know what to do, what not to do, how to plan. All these attributes come into you when you do some innovation, right? Bayrak is also an important department, and this gives a lot of funding. uh, it's a nice startup. The problem is also genuine. So the problem identification was done by a doctor. He said that when we are injecting patients, injection, the injection is labeled as intramuscular or intravenous or IV use. Somewhere it is very clearly written for IM use only. Now, staff is administering that injection. How do you confirm that it is not entering into the blood vessel and it is only into the muscle? So it was a nice challenge because in the hospital, the doctor had observed that there are many side effects coming in because of a drug entering into the IV where it was not meant for IV, it was meant for muscular IM. Sometimes it happens that the drug may precipitate out if it is given IV, because it's not supposed to be given IV. It is supposed to be given IM. So the doctor had identified that this is the problem statement. We don't have a nice technology which is available to identify whether an intramuscular injection is not permeating into the vessel and the drug is not going into the vessel. So he came up with a solution and he is working on it right now. That he is developing a syringe with a needle which is having two needles. So the first needle goes inside, which is a very thin needle, and it checks whether the needle is inside the vessel or it's inside the muscle. Why? Because normally when doctors check, when they pull the plunger and they try to see whether any blood is coming into the syringe, then they come to know that the needle is inside the vessel. But lot of studies have shown that when you pull it, the vessel is small and it collapses. So no, though the needle is inside the vessel, the blood does not come out. So he's developing such a nice product, and we had applied to the big grant, and he has received 49 lakh rupees from the big grant from BIRAC for developing his technology. So very interesting things are happening. So a lot of support is available, and you can go to various agencies and get support. Similarly, departments of science and technology also has so many funding facilities available. You can see that, and wherever which scheme you are applicable to, you can apply over there for your startup and you can get funding. Correct? So key focus areas, if we are in pharma and healthcare, what are the areas in which we can work on? We can really contribute. First is novel drug delivery systems, coming out with new, more functional, more beneficial products having less side effects, say for example, or personalized therapy or something like that. We can develop new technology for our existing pharmaceutical processes and come out with modified solutions also, because sometimes the product comes in a very innovative package also. So you can make innovative packaging also and come out with such types of products. Novel APIs, that's about drug discovery. We are trying to come out with new molecules. Excipients, which are more functional. Phytopharmaceuticals from herbal raw materials and nutraceuticals. This is also a big area in which we have so many startups now working. Novel testing tools, medical devices, and diagnostics. Lot of work is being done on this front. There is a specific regulation now coming up by the government of India for diagnostics and medical devices. A lot of support is being given over there. So this is also a very lucrative area on which students can work. Healthcare tools and solutions like for medicine, pharma, and biology, for patient care. So when you are in the hospitals and you find that there are problems for a particular issue, then you can come out with some solutions for the hospitals also. So healthcare tools we call them, and they are useful for the hospitals and the patients when the delivery of the medicine is being done or procurement is being done. You can have tools for that also, or products for that. And then you have Ayush, where we are talking of Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, Homeopathy, Paramedical Sciences. There is a lot of scope, a lot of work is being done on these areas. So we have, this is a broad spectrum in which our pharmacy students can really take up some novel products to develop, identify a problem and work on it. So I've shown the landscape in which the students can work and take up some innovative projects. Uh, Whenever we are working with startups or innovation, there's a lot of requirement of collaborations because we may not have all the facilities. Therefore, collaborations would become very important so that the students who are working on such projects can get support. So when we were working on all these startups, we had support from manufacturers like Zydus, Saga, Troika. These are product manufacturers. We had uh, MOUs with API industry. We had MOUs with biologics manufacturing industry like Cintas is a also manufacturing biologics. O2H is in drug discovery. Ethicare and Clientha are into clinical research. So if you want to have your clinical trial done, then we have that MOU so that they can help this startup. With Synzeal and O2H, they are into new drug discovery, so they can help. Cosmetics, we have with Alka Chemi Cosmetics, so they are into cosmetic manufacturing and exports, so that is there. So these are the industry partners who can help the students for such innovative projects. We also have academic partnerships with other universities so that if there's a project which needs multidisciplinary dimensions, we can collaborate with our other universities and we can have joint projects so that part of the work they can do, part of the work we can do, and take the project ahead. And we have ecosystem partners who can help the startup, where we have India-based eChai, Head Start, TAI. So these are ecosystem partners, and they do a lot of work on the startup front. So in this way, this is the landscape in which any student startup can get support from, and the institution or the college or the university should be able to support such an environment so that the students can get the right support wherever is required, depending on the type of startup. So I'll just give examples of a few startups because they are from varied areas. We have Redicin Medsol, which was there, and this Redicin Medsol had has prepared a smart box. It is a pill box, and it is a smart pill box which is giving reminders to the patients and to the caregivers that this medicine has to be taken now at this time. So that is how this startup has come up. It has been given a lot of funding. It has now started working with foreign collaborators also. It's a wonderful startup led by engineering students who are into healthcare. Uh, the Rises Analytics is also a high-tech healthcare AI-based startup, artificial intelligence based, and this startup has been nominated by the government for TB program, because what they do is they from the AI based data which they are generating from the patients, they are able to predict the progression of the disease, and this becomes so vital that whether the disease is progressing or it is being treated. So from any report which is being submitted into their software, they can predict whether this patient is now going for further problems, or his problems are going to increase, or he's on a right path of treatment. Such decisions this is providing by using artificial intelligence. So it's a wonderful startup. ASC Analytics is another startup, and it's also doing wonderful. It is, all of you know that we have bitter drugs, and to mask the taste of bitter drugs, we do taste masking. How do you check taste masking? Whether drug has been taste masked properly or not? Normally, you would just do it by testing it yourself, but that's scientifically not valid, not accepted by regulatory authorities. Therefore, such taste mask products, if you are exporting any pediatric formulation to say Europe or US, they will ask for a taste masking report that your product has been taste masked. Either you go for a clinical trial where you have volunteers to which you are going to do a full-fledged clinical trial, and that's very costly. So we have this startup AAC, that is artificial sensory evaluation. This startup is working on a machine which has they have developed, and using so many sensory electrodes, they give you the taste analysis of your product on a scale of 1 to 10, because they have developed a bitterness scale of 1 to 10, and on the bitterness scale they give you your product evaluation, that what is the bitterness of your product. A wonderful startup. They are working for all the multinational companies in India, and they are doing good. So students also work as interns with this startup. It's a very small startup, but students get an opportunity to work. So some master students have one project which they do with this startup. So along with what the work which they are doing. So it's very interesting. So that's about another startup. We have Anya Biotech, that's there, and they are working on oral administration of peptides and proteins. If you just Google top 10 selling drugs in the world, out of 10, 7 are large molecules, proteins or peptides. right? So Anya Biofarm, that's also a startup working on oral administration of peptides. Why? Because peptides are usually given by injections, because once a protein goes into the stomach, it is digested, so it's not functional. So, say for example, semaglutide is a very popular drug, and semaglutide has a bioavailability of 1% only. So this company or this startup is working on increasing the bioavailability of semaglutide by using some technology, correct? They are doing some modification, and then they are protecting it. They are doing entry coating, and they are doing some conjugation. And by doing this, from 1% they want to 6 or 7%. 7 times increase in the bioavailability. So that's really remarkable. And they have got patents on this technology also, and they are going for clinical trials, which are very promising. So that is how they are working on biopharmaceutical projects. Acastri is a scientific and medical writing startup. It is based in Bangalore, and they are working for companies across India. It's a startup by a student who become a teacher, and now she is a startup. It's a woman-led startup. She has this startup. NDF is a functional foods and beverages products using organic natural vegetables, fruits, pulses, and grains. This is also woman-led startup, and they are preparing freeze-dried sachets of ready-to-use food products. So when people are traveling, it becomes very easy for them because they have to just open the pouch, redisperse it in water, and take it. So it's a freeze-dried products they have prepared, and that is also woman-led startup. We have another product company or startup which is based on drug discovery in Sparrowcam, and they are also into the drug discovery landscape. Make in India scheme is launched by the central government, where they want, because after COVID, most of the APIs which are being manufactured in China was not able to. We have all the sources had dried out, so there's a lot of problem of procuring the APIs. So the central government has launched this scheme of Make in India, where, and the PLI scheme also has been launched, where startups working on such indigenization of processes and technologies get a lot of support. So they are working on that landscape and trying to uh, economize the cost of making those APIs and intermediates in India, reducing the number of steps in the reaction and making it economical. That's a nice startup. One faculty member is also a part of the startup. So similarly, we have other startups also. I'll go through the scheme. Okay. There was one startup which was solving the problem of supply chain invisibility between hospital and pharmaceutical company. Many times it happens that hospitals, when they want some products, they have to go through the tendering process, and they have to go and identify which company is going to give. And so what happens? This startup, they collected information from hospitals and and the pharmaceutical companies, and they had a common platform which they created, one B Farm student and one commerce girl student. So both of them together, they created the startup, and they had more than 200 hospitals on board and many pharmaceutical manufacturers. So whenever the hospital was in need of a product, they could immediately, through this software platform, they could check which manufacturer had how much stock of the product which they wanted and the price available. So the procurement process was faster, smoother, and cheaper. Correct. So the hospitals were also getting benefit, and the companies were also getting benefit. So this startup, all of you are aware of Tata 1 milligram. I hope it's an online platform where you can get medicines, right? Tata 1 mg. This company was taken over by Tata 1 mg in 3.2 crores, just within a time span of 8 months. Wonderful. You know, then just, B Farm students, they had developed this platform. So very interesting, very interesting to understand how you can take up some problems and try to find some solutions. Fellex Healthcare, again, an alumni of the college, working in the farm industry, a woman-led startup. She found that she was into pet care. Pets are now, the pet care industry is booming in India because now people want more and more pets, as we see in India. So this startup, Felnex Healthcare, they are into specialty pet products. During COVID, they had launched the first pet sanitizer in India, which was alcohol free. So lot of niche products, not me too products, niche products they had developed and they are into the market. They are also into exports. These companies are also on Amazon. You can go to the Amazon and check their products over there. There's a very interesting startup called Appomind. The students know, B Farm students know that if they want to do M Farm and they want to qualify for scholarship, then GPAT is required, correct? Informed students also know that they get scholarships when they pass this GPAT test. So this Appomind was a student-led startup, and then he was doing some coaching in a small way. After that, he developed his own startup by the name of Appomind, and he is offering gamified learning for various competitive exams like, say, GPAT, NIPER, and all that. It's so easy and good for the students to use this gamified platform. So even up to maybe 1.5 year, all his batches are full. They have been booked. He doesn't have space, and he is also offering these students a success rate of about 40%. 40% success rate when students are taking coaching from his startup. So you can imagine, I have given you examples of various types of projects which students can take up, and they can start working on any such problem statement and come out with a startup. Even education is a big startup. Byju's, it's a huge
Hello.
startup, correct? So in this way, we can identify a problem, and after the problem has been identified, you can really work on some solutions, get support, and come out and become a startup. Okay. Again, some more startups. There's one, MTAG Solutions or MTAG Innovations. What they did was, there's a problem in supply chain, and say you have highly sensitive products which are sensitive to moisture or which are sensitive to temperature. How do you know that your vaccine, while it was being transported from the manufacturer to
Yes.
the site of injection, whether it was in the right environment of temperature? How do you know? During the transportation, how do you know that the right temperature was maintained? In the warehouse, they may have appropriate measurement of storage. But during transportation also, whether the product was maintained properly or not, if the product is sensitive to temperature or maybe the humidity, you don't know. So this startup has developed smart sensor labels. So that it's a small card type of thing. It can be put into the label of the product also. It gives you live monitoring of temperature, humidity, vibrations, which are going to destroy the product during the total life cycle of the product. So, and it has also geotagging. So, your product is at which place and what's the temperature and humidity currently at that place in which it is stored. So a lot of drug stability problems can be resolved. So it's a problem of supply chain. So they have developed smart solutions for supply chain management. Very interesting, right? So if you go to see, there are so many such good startups working across India. I just gone through a few startups and given you some ideas. This was just about startups working at the LMCP Atal Incubation Center, where we were trying to support the student startups from students and from alumni. So with the time which I have been given, I'll stop here because there's so much interesting things going on in the innovation landscape. So I'll keep some time for questions which can come in from the students if they are having some.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the informative session. So some questions are there in the chat box. So the first question is, sir, what are the risk factors while developing these startups?
Okay. See, there's a lot of risk which is there. So the risk taking capability should be there. The startups can fail at any stage. So, as I said, motivation and resilience. These are two very important factors which need to be considered. Correct. After that only, and see, there's a lot of hand holding being done when students are in college. When they're working, a lot of hand holding can be done, and they can take up the challenges which they come by proper support. So they need to be connected so that they can take facilities and availability of the right support system so that whatever challenges they are facing, they can support solve those challenges. That helps a lot.
Thank you, sir. Sir, another question is that if the product or model is already made and is present in the market, and if someone make some important necessary modification in the existing product, then can it be patented?
Yes, you need to do a nice patent search. You can use all the databases of patents available. You can do Google search. Google patents is there. You can go to ESPTO. You can go to SpaceNet for checking this. World patents also you can check. And there are databases available like say SciFinder, where you can go and check whether the technology on which you're working is patented or not. Once you get an idea that yes, nobody has done something like this, you can patent it. So an existing product, if it has been modified, and is for the first time something like modified version is available and it shows benefits, then yes, you can claim it. Say for example, drug A is available independently as a product, drug B is available independently as a product. If you combine drug A and B and say no such product exists in the market, I come out with a new combination product, it is not patentable. Why? Because both are available existing independently and both are known to have the same efficacy. But if you combine both these drugs and able to prove that there's a synergistic action where the efficacy of both or any one of the drug is increasing or the safety is more or something like that, then it becomes patentable. So you need to understand the novelty or the benefits which are trying to offer from the product.
Thank you, sir. Sir, another question is there any support in land availability for starting the startups?
See, there are various opportunities provided by the state government and the central government. Correct? So you can, once you have a startup facility ready, see, you can start your company in an incubation center. Correct? And then use the facilities of the incubation center. Initial phase prototypes can be manufactured over there. Then when you want to scale up, you can have your own industry afterwards. Again, if there is facility available, see if you are trying to manufacture tablets, capsules, or injections, you don't put your own factory initially. Get it manufactured on loan license somewhere. So that you're not investing much in capex and your product can go into the market and you can start working with the product and push it into the market. So these options are available. Even for startups, yes, there are tax benefits available. So that you can take avail of if from the government as it is available. But I think free land is not available. Nominal rate you have to give, and there are certain parks which are there in which startups can set up their facilities. That is at a subsidized rate.
Thank you, sir. So as we bring our online session of innovation opportunities in pharma and healthcare to an end, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each of you for your active participation and insightful contributions. A special word of thanks goes to our eminent speaker, Dr. Praful Paradia sir, whose presence illuminated our discussion with wisdom and inspiration, and your valuable insights have enriched our understanding of the innovation process, skills required, funding sources available for the startup and innovation, key focus areas and the different startup examples, live examples. So all things are, sir, nicely described by you, and really this will be motivating for our students, and it is really informative session. I would like also express my gratitude to our management and the principal, sir, Dr. K.S. Saunke, sir. Special thanks to IQAC coordinator, Dr. R.D. Amrutkar, sir. I would like to express my gratitude to our technical support, Dr. Ms. Sanika, madam. And I am also thankful to the students for their active participation in the session. I also thankful to all who directly and indirectly contribute for the success of this session. And thank you once again to Dr. Bharadia sir by giving us a time through his busy schedule. And really this session is very helpful for us, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for giving an opportunity to interact with you and all your students.
Thank
Very
you.
nice session, sir. We got a number of things updated. One question that means, how should we initiate students to generate the idea? Means already number of times what happened, they are coming with the idea, but that ideas are somewhere already onto the, means they are searching onto the internet, and then they are duplicating the ideas. Means
So what can be done is we have patent clinics, which we do.
okay.
So we give them an idea of what are patents, how to search for patents, and how to check novelty of your idea. Okay.
Mhm.
So along with ideation competitions, we also do patent clinics.
Okay.
That helps. Even for all, say for example, even for M-Farm projects, whenever they start M-Farm projects, we compulsorily tell them to go through a patent clinic so that they know whether what they're working on is novel or something which has already been done by somebody.
Means patent search is to be carried out.
Yes, yes. You have to make them go through the patent search process.
Okay.
Yes, that will be useful.
I'm asking something about, means how do they generate the new one? Means thinking.
See, thought process has to be
Yeah.
initiated by faculty also. The faculty has to really support, because when students come up with ideas, and see, lot of problem statements are available. So you can have brainstorming sessions.
Okay.
कि चलो ये problem है, इसको कैसे solve करेंगे? So collect problem statements. You can connect with industries around you, get problem statements from the industry, and then you have brainstorming students with the students, and चलो आपको कैसे solve करोगे problem को, and come out with some ideas. So this, once the ideation process is imbibed, then they start wondering how to solve this problem. धीरे धीरे वो आ जाता है उसके अंदर.
Okay.
So the sessions would be important, such sessions, right?
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right, sir. So can we end the session here?
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everybody. Have a good day.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day, sir.